Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are embarking on a pretty incredible journey. We're going to zoom all the way out from the absolute smallest, split-second decisions taking place inside our own minds, straight to the massive, sweeping forces that shape entire nations. And to do this, we'll be using the beautiful region of Fiji and its surrounding islands as our real-world economic laboratory. Let's dive in. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The value of satisfaction. 2. Balancing budgets and desires. 3. Finding the market equilibrium. 4. The economics of tourism. And 5. Transport, connecting the economy. Starting right off with Section 1, the value of satisfaction and why more isn't always better. We're kicking things off at the absolute micro level, deep inside the mind of a single consumer trying to decide what to buy. You see, human desire is the total foundation of all economic theory. But have you ever wondered why the very first bite of a sweet treat, like an ice cream cone, is literally the best thing ever, but by the time you're staring down your fifth cone, you've completely lost interest? Honestly, the mere thought of it might even make you feel a little sick. Well, economics actually has a specific measurement for this exact feeling. It's a crucial concept called marginal utility. Now, utility is just an economist's fancy word for satisfaction, and marginal utility measures the exact drop or change in that extra satisfaction as we consume more and more of the exact same thing. To put that into perspective, let's look at some data from a thirsty consumer named Tootie, who is drinking glasses of lemon juice. This brilliantly illustrates the law of diminishing marginal utility. Notice how Tootie's extra satisfaction, which is measured in utils, plummets from a high of 20 on that refreshing first glass, all the way down to 0 by the fifth. And it actually hits a -5 by the sixth glass. As a rational consumer, Tootie should definitely stop drinking before hitting that negative number. Moving right along to Section 2, balancing budgets and desires, or making choices with limited resources. So, knowing what gives us satisfaction is only half the battle, right? We also have to actually afford it. Let's introduce a strict $20 budget constraint. When we map this out, we get a downward sloping line that shows the exact trade-offs a consumer has to make between, say, buying apples priced at $4 and bananas priced at $2. Every single time you want to gain one apple, you literally have to sacrifice 2 bananas. That's the slope of our budget line. And the scenarios here are super interesting. Any combination that falls inside that line, like point G, means we haven't spent our full budget. It's kind of just a missed opportunity to maximize our utility. But on the flip side, anything outside the line, like point H, well, that's simply a mathematical impossibility with our current income. We just can't afford it. We have to make choices that land exactly on that line. Which brings us to Section 3, finding the market equilibrium. This is where buyers and sellers finally agree. Okay, so individuals are out there balancing their personal budgets based on what gives them utility. But what happens when millions of these individuals suddenly interact with the businesses that are actually making the products? Let's take the market for computer flash drives. On one hand, suppliers are willing to produce and sell more flash drives as the price goes up. And on the other hand, we have consumer demand sloping downwards. And right in the middle, we see the exact point where these two forces perfectly intersect. That intersection lands exactly at $10. This is the market equilibrium. It's the precise mathematical price where the exact amount of flash drives consumers want to buy perfectly matches the exact amount suppliers want to sell. Nobody's stuck with extra inventory, and nobody goes home empty-handed. It's perfectly balanced. All right, Section 4, the economics of tourism. When millions of individual choices hit the national stage. Let's zoom way out from small items like flash drives and lemon juice. Let's see how these exact same market forces drive an entire national economy. We're going to look at Fiji's tourism sector, which is one of the most vital pieces of the whole Pacific economy. Just look at the immense external demand from international consumers here. This isn't local spending. This is global demand intersecting with local supply. Australians alone make up a staggering 43% of Fiji's tourist market, followed by New Zealand and the US. So why is all this foreign demand so crucial? Well, it triggers what economists call the multiplier effect. It's basically a powerful economic chain reaction. A single foreign dollar doesn't just sit in a hotel's bank account. First, it's spent directly at the resort. Then, indirectly, the hotel uses that dollar to buy fresh crops from local farmers. And finally, there's induced spending, where the farmers and hotel workers take their new income and buy clothes and food in their own local villages. That money just keeps rippling outward. But, of course, there's a trade-off. As Cook Islands MP Sel Napa points out, maximizing economic utility through massive tourist demand hits real-world physical limits. The quote reads, Rarotonga just can't cope with almost 160,000 tourists a year. If we don't have the infrastructure and utilities in place, we shouldn't be encouraging ever-increasing tourism. It doesn't make sense. An influx of 160,000 tourists can severely strain local infrastructure, things like roads, water, and waste disposal. The source material highlights that this forces a really serious macroeconomic trade-off between aggressively growing the economy and ensuring environmental and social sustainability. Which leads us to our final stop, Section 5, Transport, Connecting the Economy, the Physical Pathways of Commerce. That whole issue of infrastructure brings us perfectly to the ultimate macro-level necessity. It's the thing that makes all this micro-level buying and selling possible, transportation. Without it, the market equilibrium completely falls apart. Check out this incredible quote from Lysenia Seneconiko, a village headman in Fiji. To move basic housing materials, his village had to build 41 bamboo rafts, or billy-billy, and drag them through rivers for days. It brilliantly illustrates massive economic friction. When producers can't easily reach consumers, economic growth just stalls. To clear up this severe friction, governments have to step into the market with macro policies. They upgrade rural roads and neglected ports to physically connect remote suppliers to those larger consumer markets. They even use strategies like the shipping franchise scheme to financially subsidize uneconomical shipping routes just to make sure isolated islands aren't left behind. All of this while trying to balance sustainability by limiting high-emission older vehicles from entering the country. So we've traveled all the way from the first sip of a drink to the global movement of tourists and cargo ships. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to look at your next purchase not just as a simple budget decision. Ask yourself, how does the utility you chase today act as the very first domino in a massive chain reaction that literally paves the roads and shapes the world around you? Keep questioning the forces around you, and thanks so much for joining me.